Roberto Monaco here with Influenceology, and today I have my brother, Dr. Matthew Norton. Dr. Matthew,
Hello,
what's up, buddy?
Hey, good to see you, my friend.
I'm so excited you're here. Today we're going to talk about leadership. Specifically, we're going to be talking about three powerful, life-changing principles of leadership. And Dr. Matthew, I know him for many years. He is a leader, coach, trainer, and he is the guy, he's a genius when it comes to assessment, psychological assessment, behavior assessment in the areas of emotional intelligence, emotional agility, and his passion, his goal is to unleash the potential of your team. So, Dr. Matthew, welcome. And I know we have an awesome company called People Plus Purpose at the website. I want to leave here below here, People Plus Purpose. You can go and check it out, his work. Welcome, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm having a great day. Thank you. It's good to see you as always. I love it when we get a chance to be together.
I love it. This is going to be fun. So the first question, when you talk about leadership, everybody understands leadership. Like, yeah, I get leadership, but you say, okay, what is leadership? And people have a hard time to define a concept. And if you don't understand the definition of a concept, it's actually hard to implement the concept.
Right.
So in your opinion, how do you personally define leadership?
I think it's, something to the effect of really the art of inspiring other people to take action towards a common objective, a common goal, common destination that we're trying to get to. I think that's kind of in general now great leadership involves a little bit more than that, but I think that's the definition of leadership.
Okay. And now, and the time, so it's very similar to the word of influence then. Influence leadership is very similar, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Therefore, Influenceology is indeed a good name.
That's it. Thank you. And I'm gonna I'll send you the money later on just to say that.
Perfect.
So why leadership right now? Why leadership? Why right now? Why business leaders should focus on leadership right now?
I think because people have a lack of clarity more than in a long time, I think, as to where they're going and how to do that, how to do business together very effectively. So I think to have leaders be able to point a direction, to inspire, to take action, and to be able to say, where are we going? Where are we going? And why does this even matter? Because I think there's a lot of breakdown in our culture right now and a lot of splintering. And so there needs to be that cohesion that somebody needs to create.
I love that. So I found that this whole pandemic and COVID, has caused a lot of people to reevaluate themselves, from their career, their mission. We had to reevaluate our company, traditional public speaking, presentation training.
Right.
All of a sudden, like the whole industry stopped. Like, I'm grateful because I was doing online and video marketing training, all that stuff before. But I agree with you. I think is super important. David Serial, my brother, great point. Lack of clarity is an all-time high. That's it. Dr. David Serial. Guys should connect, by the way. I'll make the introduction later on. Awesome. So when you coach leaders, or business owners, what are some of the key reasons that you feel they don't reach their full potential?
I think there's three that really stand out in my mind. And the first one is that leaders don't know themselves deeply enough, and they're not serving others through their strengths. And there was just as an illustration for that, I was recently reading an article that I thought was an awesome idea, where the person was talking about trying to teach somebody else how to be able to use a window as a mirror. That if they've never heard that concept, if they've never thought about being able to see their own reflection in the glass of a window, and in trying to teach the person to do that, their tendency was to continue to look through the glass to see what was going on outside. All of these people and activities were going on, and I'm making assessments of all of that. I'm coming to my conclusions. I'm taking action based on all of that. And the person was trying to direct them back to say, yeah, but what you can see, if with this lighting, you can see yourself right there reflected. Can you see that? And the person couldn't see it. And to me, that's a perfect illustration for where leaders, we can all get hung up as leaders in that, as we're inspiring other people to take action, right? And we are potentially very action-oriented individuals that are very goal-driven, that we're somehow failing to factor ourselves into the equation. Because if I don't see myself clearly, then I really can't see anybody else clearly. And I think that that's really important. And that seeing of myself means seeing my strengths, seeing areas maybe where I'm not strong, where do I need to grow, but also to be able to see some of the blockages or growth needs maybe that I have in my own life to keep stepping up to be a better human being as well as a better leader.
Now I'm gonna put you in a spot here. You ran thousands of assessments, right?
Yes.
I love the analogy Dr. David Sears said, and I'm like, oh, I'm so gonna use that. I'm gonna steal. I'm telling you that I'm gonna steal the window analogy, right? So we're gonna steal so good. So when you run your assessments, Dr. Matthew actually developed his own assessment, which is very super amazing. And obviously, when you do an assessment, you're doing for yourself. Can you think about one of an example of someone, a leader who had a breakthrough, like after him or her ran through the assessment, goes, oh, that's not me, right?
Yeah, well,
and then you're like, whoa, actually.
Well, what often comes up, because interestingly, and I would love this to change at any moment, starting right now, that people don't hire me primarily thinking I am the issue. Just like people who are having marriages that are challenging, it's usually the spouse that has a problem, right? If they could just get it together. So people will hire me either because they realize in their hiring process, there's something missing, because they keep hiring people that are not an ideal fit. It's not working out. Either for their engagement or productivity, it's not the role's not working out. But a lot of times it's because they see problems in the team. They want me to help them see what's wrong with these other people and see if I can help get it sorted out. And so specifically, I had a doctor hire me a little while back, and that was the thing. The office manager was the problem. And if you could just help her, I don't want to let her go because she's got some great strengths, but can be kind of abrasive sometimes. She's too intense. And so can you fix her? Well, I took it on knowing that that's not exactly how it all goes. But it's a starting point, right? So as we're doing assessments, and I'm always telling people, because just like the leader needs to see themselves, they need to see the whole team. If you're hiring, using assessments to hire or to develop your people, you need to see who everybody is. You need to see, if you're hiring, is this person going to be a good fit for the role? Are they going to be a good fit for the existing team? If you're wanting to then develop those people to their potential, then we want to know all these details. Well, so the doctor did assessments. And so when we were reviewing them, his focus was on this person that was the problem. But he came back to me later and he said, well, I was looking at my own. And he said, it seems like, based on some of my scores in areas that you were saying are important, that maybe I'm not as good as I could be. Maybe I'm not the best leader. Do you think you could help me be a better leader? And I thought, okay, now we're getting down to it, because who's the first person that you're hiring? The first person
yourself
is the leader, right? So how good should you hire yourself? For what exactly? So where are your strengths? Where are some of those challenges? Where do you need to improve?
No, it's super powerful. You just said I never thought about it before, where when you want to hire someone, people always talk about they run assessments on the person, but they never run assessment on the leader to make sure there's a match. Very interesting. So going back to the original question, some key reasons business owners don't reach their full potential is that, number one, leaders, they don't know themselves, they don't see themselves, they don't know their quote unquote areas of weakness.
Right. And then they also, secondly, they don't know really clearly where they're going and why. You know, it's like many people have heard the image of putting your ladder up against a wall, working hard to climb diligently to get to the top of that ladder, and then realizing after you've strained and struggled to get there that it was the wrong wall, and that what you got at the end wasn't really what you were hoping for. So I think I have doctors all the time, business owners all the time, it's not just doctors, business owners all the time, who are telling me how hard they're working. I will ask them, what is your biggest desired outcome? What are you really wanting? And sometimes I'll use the metaphor of the Wizard of Oz and the Emerald City. Like, what is, once you get there to the Emerald City, what's that like? What is it like for you as the business owner, for your team, for the people you serve, and for the larger community that you influence and that you'd like to serve? What does that look like? And oftentimes people fail to see the relevance of that, as though somehow if I just work hard every day, I'm going to get there. Well, you will get somewhere, but maybe not really where you're going to be ultimately fulfilled.
And do you have some tips and ideas for people? And I know when you do visioning or purpose workshop, when you work to clarify the vision, I know is a deeper process.
Right.
What would be some ideas for someone to be able to realize, hey, here's some things to think about to start creating that vision for my life, for my career?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and I have a whole Dare to Dream process that I created. I think one of those things is to be able to look out some years ahead and to be able to see this better future. To spend some time dreaming. We need to spend more time staring out the window and just dreaming about a future. What is the better future I'm imagining? And a lot of that's going to be infused with a person's inspiration sources, which is one of our assessments that we use, which is of 7 different unique sources of inspiration. What is it that mostly is driving you? What do you value the most? So in a sense, what we're doing is connecting the dream future a person's imagining to their own inspiration sources as to why this even matters. Why do I get up in the morning? Why would I call this a good day, a good month, a good year, a successful, rewarding career? Because I fulfilled this and that. And the team members have all these too, right? So that's where you can connect your vision and mission to the inspiration sources of the whole team. So everybody,
I love that.
In that, right? A lot of times when people are doing vision and mission statements, they are saying, well, this is the collective mission or vision of our organization, but they're failing to help people connect the dots of what matters to them into that mission and vision.
Once you help them connect the dots to their source of inspiration, how do you bring that into day-to-day business, into reality, into day-to-day when the team start working and eventually all the warm feelings are gone and now they're hit with the reality? How do we ignite those sources of inspiration?
So it's a good question. It needs to be maintained. People often use assessments for a quick glance at something for a hiring decision, or they will use assessments as a one-off team building exercise. Fine. But the greatest value is being able to carry a language and a framework forward for understanding all of the unique individuals. Where are their strengths? What's driving them? And how do we incorporate? How does everybody know that about each other? And so we create charts for teams. We create charts across these core 4 dimensions so that people can look and see, oh, remind me, that's who you are. That's what matters to you. That's how I should communicate with you. This is how we can collaborate better together. So the inspiration, I encourage then the business owners or the leaders within that organization to look back on a regular basis and think, if I want to have this person embrace a new initiative, a change, then let me speak to why that would matter to them. So for example, say the person is, one of them is challenge or achievement as one of those inspiration sources. So that person is driven for, they're goal oriented. They want a good return on their investment. They are interested maybe more financially in benefits. Well, somebody else might be service contribution inspired primarily, or somebody else is more is inspired more by ideas, by generating new creative ideas. So how does that play out? How do those inspirational strengths play out in the daily decisions, the daily actions that are taking place? And it's a language we can learn.
That's just awesome. That's just awesome. Now, as you go along and you coach, thousands of doctors, business owners, what do you feel is the most untapped resource?
It's really their people. It's the team. I find so many business owners, doctors and other business owners, that look past their team too much to the people that they want to serve. I care, so much of my time and energy and attention goes toward the people I'm wanting to reach who are going to do business with me. I fail to adequately know, understand, develop, deliver on the strengths, help the people really bring their strengths to play, because the team allows us to be able to have a greater impact. You and I were having a conversation recently where we were talking about, who's the greatest team and who's the greatest leader of all time, and talking about Jesus being that greatest leader, and the greatest team were these disciples who were willing to lay their lives on the line, and their lives, they gave their lives to that mission, right? This is a little heavier than the yellow brick road to get to an Emerald City, but it's the same basic thing. It's like what people are expecting things from their teams. Like, you just should show up and deliver and be good. You're supposed to be good at this and help me accomplish what I want. But Jesus was a powerful leader because, many different reasons, but one of them was because he invested in those people. He knew them, which is really the third point that I have, is that knowing your unique team members individually and then prioritizing their development is the third element of that power principle for awesome leadership, which means I see myself, I know where I'm going and why it matters to me. I can then communicate that to others. But also I know my people uniquely, and I know how to develop them. I see the potential. I notice them enough. And that's where assessments can help us cheat, right? I have people all the time say, how do you know me that well? We've never even met. I just did these assessments. I say, I cheat because I don't have time to get to know everybody, many of whom I will never meet personally. And so I have an advantage. But you can learn that language too. And so you can study your people so that you can see, what do they need to be brought to their full potential. There is so much latent potential in team members.
Why is that?
Because they have strengths to bring, and we didn't bother to pay attention to who they uniquely were. Makes me think about when I married the first time. My first wife passed away, but when I married the first time, I adopted her twin 5-year-old daughters. And when I remarried, I married a woman who had a daughter 1 month younger than the other two. So we blended 3 same-age daughters. The magnitude of the demands of that, of the stresses of that, it was just this, it felt like a package of challenge, right? Because it was a package of challenge, just like in a business, there's a lot going on, right? What I failed to do with those girls was to notice early enough on. In fact, I didn't really get it till I started using assessments and they were teenagers, was that they're completely different people. I lumped them into a team. You could call them a team, right? These team of daughters Well, who are they? Who is each one uniquely? What do they need to be developed to be at their best? What's my job as a leader for them, for each one uniquely? And so it's the same thing as a business leader with their team. How do I draw out your best? Which means I'm not trying to strengthen your weaknesses. I'm trying to know your strengths and help you thrive in them. I want to go there and develop that. And I think that's an untapped potential.
So 3 principles of leadership. 1, the leader has to be able to see himself, herself, recognize his strength, his weakness. 2,
Yes.
having a vision and knowing where they're going and why they're going. Number 3, being able to know their people, their motivations, their strengths, and their weakness.
Yeah, and prioritize their development.
When you say, what do you mean by that? You're talking about like, because a lot of people, they rely on the team to do self-development. So you're talking about develop different training for the team. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that people have a hard time sometimes knowing how to develop themselves. That's back to leadership and why now, where we started. I think that even more now, people need the guidance of somebody else to see. It doesn't always have to be the business owner. Great leaders under the owner can then help fill that role, because I have a lot of business owners who tell me, especially professional business owners, who say, I'm so busy doing the work. I don't really have time. So I get it. I get it. There may not be that much time for developing your people. In fact, sometimes they'll say there's no time for the people to be developed. And I think, okay, you're not being creative enough. We got to think outside the box as to what this can look like. They need guidance. They can do some of it in their own time, depending on the team.
What is from these years and thousands of assessments done? What is one? And I know there's different assessments for different context. I get that. But what is the one of your favorite assessments that you personally like to help people to grow, to develop?
Yeah, so the greatest one for development is emotional agility.
Well, let's talk about what is emotional agility.
Okay, so the good. That's good. Keep me defining terms, Roberto.
I want to know what it is.
Yeah,
I think I know, but I want to know what it is.
It's the ability for us to utilize our own emotions in an effective way in the course of our moment-to-moment daily living, and also to effectively engage with other people's emotions, right? So it's everything from being aware of my state and my impact, the impact of my state on others, my ability to manage my state, the ability to tap into that inner drive for my own inspired engagement, my ability to have empathy and put myself in somebody else's shoes from a compassionate understanding standpoint, and then relationship influence. Back to that word influence again, Roberto. Oh. So, the ability to then reach across and do something for somebody else to help them. So my favorite thing to do is to help leaders with their emotional agility, because I work with a lot of genius, smart business owners who are very technically skill set savvy, but they have not necessarily had anybody invest in helping them with the emotional side of their leadership skill sets, right? And so people drive performance, but emotions drive people. And
I love that.
It's playing more of a role.
Love that quote.
It's playing more of a role than anybody thinks in the outcomes that they're getting.
Let's see, Dr. Adriana Ola from California. Question: how did you prepare for becoming a stepfather?
Oh yes. Well, how did I prepare? I was thrown into the deep end of the pool. I threw myself. I wasn't thrown. I threw myself into the deep end of the pool and believed that I was going to be a good swimmer. And that's how I prepared. And then I realized how ill-equipped I was for such an important role. Yes, a most important role. And I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about leadership. I learned a lot about about what it means to guide people and develop people through my own failings,
Oh,
really, in that
for sure.
regard.
That's where you learn.
Yeah, I'm a better grandparent.
I don't have the experience yet. Dr. Lara said the most important role influencing a human child life and grow. I agree. High five. I
Yes.
agree 100% on that one. For
Yes.
sure. For sure. Without mentioning any names and revealing, keeping the privacy of your clients, can you, because I know those technical people, I work with a lot of them too. Um, I would love to hear a case study, or maybe someone you help, someone that had technical skill, and then but they had this emotional agility low score, let's call low score. And what's some things that you did to help the person improve his or her leadership role?
Yeah. Well, I have one particular one I'm working with right now who is, very, very skilled technically. Did not have much in the way of leadership training or background. And also professional people often don't have a lot of business training, right? That's a
Mhm.
challenge unto itself,
Mhm.
but don't know how to lead people. And back to who's the first person you're hiring yourself as
Mhm.
the leader. It was really him that needed the work. He can't even see his people. But one of the main things that was driving him was in his action approach assessment. He is primarily an influential communicator. He's a people oriented extrovert. Well, the primary fear of a people oriented extrovert is social rejection. It was so problematic for him and he couldn't see this, that he couldn't stand and deliver the truth of his care recommendations to the people because they may reject him for that.
Hmm.
More common than people would think. In other words, I've done my diagnostic assessment. I know what you need, but I'm going to hedge my bets on what I deliver about what you need based on what I think you might easily purchase because I want you to like me.
Mhm.
It was ruining everything. So the helping him become aware of that, he didn't see it. We then brought in some radical candor training to be able to say, you know, are you willing to challenge directly as well as care personally for people? So he was favoring caring personally, but not being willing to challenge directly. And
Mhm.
ultimately, I had to come back to him and say, are you really caring personally if you're thinking about yourself?
Mhm.
I never saw it that way.
Hmm.
I never saw that I was being selfish by virtue of not taking a stance for telling the truth to you and being willing to challenge you with that and let you run with it wherever you're going to go.
That's a good reframe right there. That's a good reframe. Um, Dr. Lara said doctors are not taught anything about running a business during training and or med school. Yeah. Well, I didn't go to med school, Dr. Lara, but I would say so. I went to business school. I would say so.
And in
Um,
business school, they didn't teach you how to be a good doctor, did they?
that's yeah, that's it.
So see, there you go. It's a
Uh,
specialized world we're in.
so let's share a little bit. Let's talk about your business a little bit here. Want to share? Let me know, buddy, if I can see if you can see your beautiful site. Can you see it?
I can. That looks
Yeah.
that looks
So
like
what?
me.
Yeah, people. So what's the story behind people plus purpose? What's going on with that?
Well, so that's kind of what we've been talking about, right? Is
Yeah.
that these key elements of leadership involve people. Like if you really want to tap into what may be falling short in your business success or
Yeah.
greatest fulfillment, it has to do with clarifying your purpose more deeply, more
Yeah.
accurately, and also who are you and who are the other people. So if you can get the people plus purpose elements right, then I
Yeah.
think it will take a lot of the other things that you're already doing well and magnify them or remove some blockages. Like with this doctor I was mentioning who's low on emotional agility, right? That was a blockage that once we could release that, help him see it and release it, it's a
Yeah.
little bit of a process of training now. I'm working with him to train on improving that. But now he feels like the sky's the limit on what he can do.
That's awesome. I'm gonna take this emotional agility quick score assessment and see if I am. There's one thing I know for sure. There's always a next level. There's always a next level to grow. For those who are watching us, you can you learn more about Dr. Matthew mission here. Go to www.peoplepluspurpose.com. Dr. Matthew, do you have any message for us, for entrepreneurs? I think now the worst in the worst has passed. It's funny because I was looking for hotels to do my events. I've done 8 virtual events, 3 days online, and now I'm like, okay, it's time to start doing live events now, in-person live events. And the hotel now is crazy. You try to book something for November, booked. It's crazy. So I think people now like, okay, we are ready.
Right.
You're ready.
Yeah.
So what would be for the entrepreneurs who are ready, who survive, and they're ready to start conquering? What are some words of encouragement we have for the entrepreneurs?
Well, I would say that the world, first of all, desperately needs the strengths and skill sets that you have to bring. If you've invested in becoming an expert in the service you're in, then I'm certain that there are countless numbers of people waiting to hear your message, waiting to receive your service and hear your truth. I think that just like when you're starting a business and you're envisioning, how do I bring who I am and what I care about and my strengths to bear in a business to create it in the first place, I think this is a perfect time, even as we're getting kicked into action, to give a little bit of time to re-clarifying where you're going and why it matters to you, so that as you face whatever adversity in the return, that your passion for accomplishing this purpose, this mission that you're on, will continue to thrive amidst whatever adversity you face. And then what strengths are you bringing in? Who do I need? Who are the people that I need on my team to help me get to the next level? Who am I? Who do I already have? And who else do I need that is going to make the most amazing, powerful team? Kind of like, I think sometimes I'm a master of mixed metaphors, right? So
that's good, man. That's good.
I switch over to then football teams, thinking about, because football is one of those things where people, I think, kind of get it, that every role is, people are hired for their role, right? But it's also not just the role. How does the team fit? Who is the quarterback? Who's going to be a good fit for that quarterback? And why do teams not gel sometimes? Great players, great for their role, their position, but they don't do well together. They don't know what to expect from each other. Let's get our expectations clear of ourselves and others by virtue of knowing everyone more clearly.
Awesome. Dr. Matthew, thanks so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. There's a link below here for Dr. Matthew's company. Go check it out. Much love. Big hug, big love to your wife, to your family in San Diego, brother.
Thank you.
Wait to connect soon.
And same to you. Thank you.
God bless you, brother.
Okay. God bless you too.